Afternoon all, hope you're well. Well, today's something a little bit different. The tractor needed a run because I haven't used it since the middle of December, obviously because of a few medical problems. But today, after hideous days fishing yesterday at Scratby, I thought I'd run up to the bay. I give the tractor a run and also get a little bit deeper water. Basically the bays between Caister and Yarmouth, that's encroached on Yarmouth North Beach. So I ain't got too much further to do. Like you see the old water chute over there, and that's Yarmouth Point in the distance. So I ain't got that much further to go. Well, bait and rig wise is that the same as yesterday. One rod has got a 2-hook flapper with a prawn on the top hook and a bit of herring on the bottom hook. And the other one is a single clip down paternoster with a 4-0 pennel on it, with a bit of herring and a prawn. Let's see how this get on. Well, them prawns are toughened up lovely being in that salt overnight. They've gone tough as hell, just pull the water out of them. That do really improve them prawns and make them a bit more resistive to crabs and stuff when you put them in salt overnight. Well, that gear's only been out 5 minutes and that left hand rod seems to have gone right round. Oh, we've got another weed in the water. There ain't no weed at all on the beach, so there shouldn't be, and there wasn't nothing yesterday, but you never know. But that's gone round bloody quickly. It really has. Give it a few minutes and I'll reel it in. Well, there isn't a lot of wind today, it's still blowing northerly, well slightly northwesterly, as you can see by the wind turbines. But out of that wind, that's really warm. I didn't know I'd taken my jacket off, it's so hot. Like getting that sun, that is a really lovely cracking day. Yes, it was a few fish today. So obviously there's still a bit of a northerly roll in the water, but it ain't too bad. You can live with that. Obviously there's a little bit of scuffle on the top towards the wind against tide. Got about another hour and a half, maybe 2 hours out of push the low water. And then that'll turn and flood. Well, I'll get that first rod reeled in and see how it go. That's gone right round with the tide. There'll be a lot of weed on there. Just what I thought. Lovely little weed and no fish. That's not looking good. Well, after that hideous amount of weed, in about 10 minutes I decided to cast the rod short, so I rebacked it up and I'll put it about 20 yards out. But the other rod looked like it's bending over well, so I better get that reeled in. I'm sure it'll be full of weed as well. Well, that's what I expected. So both of them rods are now going in short. Bloody typical. I ain't got much luck lately, have I? Well, I've had a few more casts. Strange on the left hand rod. I'm still getting weed. On the right hand rod I'm getting very little. But they're still at 20 to 30 yards. Ain't very far. Well, I've been having a good yarn really. Just had speaking to one gentleman who, I forgot his name already. He subscribed to the channel and watch it all the time. I had a bit of a yarn with him. Seemed a nice enough bloke. And then I just had another yarn with another couple of their dogs. And they're all good as gold. Nice to have a bit of a yarn in the chat. Well, the fishing isn't very good. I haven't even seen a fish yet. I can't have a blank like yesterday. But the bait is disappearing today. Unlike yesterday, I gather us the crabs cleaning the hooks off because the bait is soon disappearing. I've seen weed the right hand rod ain't getting no weed, but I'm getting plenty of weed on the left hand rod. I can't understand it. They're both out 20, 30 yards, not far, trying to avoid all that weed. There's plenty there. Finally, a fish, no blank, one whiting. I'll get this unhooked and get it back. But finally, the blank has been done. No blank for a second trip. Christ, it's been a long time coming. I don't know how well you can see, but this whiting's got a parasite. If you just get it and pull it, you'll pull it out of the gills. There's like a little foot what anchor itself in this. Find his gills there, so we'll get rid of that and put it back. Well, it's now the last hour of the tide, so I'll put there's no weed on the last cast. So I'll put the left hand rod with a pennel, I'll whack that at about 60, 70 yards. And the right hand rod I kept at about 30 yards. Just to open up my options. There might be tons of weed, who knows, but there hasn't been a lot inside, so you've got to go a little bit further out and trying to find a bit of fish if you can. Normally I fish a lot better on the ebb than do the flood, but who knows what's going on. You can but try, but at least I caught a single fish now. It's better than blanking. Well, as soon as I pour a flask, get the coffee out, I get a bite. Then again, I'm not going to complain too much after only one whiting. Maybe a bite with a lot of weed. Bit of weed. That's a cracking whiting, isn't it? Oh, look at that for a lovely whiting. Wouldn't mind a pail for that sort of size. Well, I'll get this unhooked and get it back. You promised a lot of weed as well. Well, finally back to my coffee. That was a cracking whiting, that was. That was the best whiting I've had in ages. But yeah, that's good to get. There's a bit of weed there, but there weren't hardly any on the lead knot, it was all down. And as I was up, the right hand rod with the 2-hook flapper was only about 30 yards out. That had started bending over, so I reeled that in and cleaned off all the weed and rebaited that. Well, had no bait on it at all, hardly. I think the crabs really getting a good thacking, and so look, plenty of crab activity now. You know the sea's over 8.5 degrees and crabs start moving about. And they really are hammering the baits on the beach. Big time. But there you go. It's part and parcel when you start fishing near the summer now, and crabs start moving and they start eating all your bait. Hopefully I'll be able to get the pots out soon and catch a few crabs myself and get my own back. Well, the weed has eased up. There's no fish. Less weed, no fish. Bait's still fishable. Let's get this cleaned up and get this back out. Hopefully the flood has started now. Probably able to get one or two. Look at that. Another cracking whiting. Don't mind whiting that size all day, do you? Lovely fish. I'll get that unhooked and I'll get that back. Now that tide's started on the flood, that weed's eased off, and them crabs have buried up a bit more, so hopefully there'll be a few more fish there. That'll be nice. Be a right result. I deserve a few fish. Let's see if we've got anything this time. Well, that's a stonker of a whiting, that is. I'll measure that one. That's a massive whiting. £36cm. Look at that. I know it's the wrong way round, but 36cm whiting. Can't complain with that, can you? I know it's the wrong way round, but I got the tail touching the other end. That's a result. Biggest whiting I've had in ages. Better get that off and get that back. Well, I ain't had many fish, but the few whiting I have had, they've mainly been stonking bloody things. I thought that second whiting was big. That third whiting was 36cm. That's a good size whiting, that, isn't it? 36. You don't get that many of them anymore. That must be at the start of that flood tide. Started getting a few more. Hopefully there'll be a few more fish now on the flood. Last week we'll get them on the ebb, and this week it might be the flood. Or it might be the first, because there isn't much tide. The first bit of the tide bury all them crabs up, so that might be it. But we'll see. We'll get another couple of hours. Maybe. Well, the bait's starting to get a bit low. I better have to fill it off another herring. I do think the fish baits definitely sort out the better whiting. If I had lug today, I'll probably get more whiting, but all them little tiny old things, little old pin whiting, But herring and fish baits definitely sort out the better whiting amongst them. You don't get so many on them, but he ought to keep catching pins. Them whiting, they're a bit thin, but they're still good sized whiting. And this tide's definitely flooding well now. You can see it start to make on the beach. Just what we needed. Better have a look at this right hand rod. I ain't looked at it for a while, and it's starting to bend around a lot. Then again, it could be weed. Who knows? A bit different, no bait, no weed. Not even a scrap of bait left. Bloody hell. Well, the last couple of casts, I ain't had anything, but there's been no weed and no bait. Getting crabs are out in force. I wouldn't have thought so, because the first hour or so of the tide is normally the strongest. But they ain't very strong tides at the minute. The bait's just getting stripped out in 10 minutes. Crabs are right hungry little buggers. But it's a lovely day to be here. You don't know what... I'm taking my jacket off and putting it on every 10 minutes. When the sun's out, that's really lovely and warm. And when that sun go in again, that get quite cool. And that wind, I don't know what, weather don't know what it's doing.